There is a reason certain knowledge is kept completely out of your reach. Society absolutely loves to promote books about toxic positivity, books about working incredibly hard, books about being a good, compliant, submissive little citizen. But there is a specific type of knowledge that completely terrifies the architects of this reality. Knowledge that does not teach you how to exist peacefully inside the cage, but teaches you exactly how to pick the lock and quietly slit the throat of the guard. Today, we are going to open the most dangerous book you will ever read. It is not dangerous because it contains magical spells. It is absolutely dangerous because it contains the unvarnished, freezing cold truth about human nature. It completely shatters the fragile, comfortable illusion that you call reality. If you are deeply attached to your pathetic, comfortable lies, if you desperately need to believe that the world is inherently fair and that good things magically happen to good people, I highly recommend you click away from this video right now. Go back to your shiny little digital distractions. Go back to sleep. Because once you hear what I am about to tell you, you can never ever unsee the thick, heavy strings attached directly to your own limbs. The weak minds have already clicked away. Good. Now it is just you and me. Let us read the forbidden chapters. Chapter 1. The Great Deception. From the exact moment you were born into this system, you were aggressively handed a highly manufactured, fake instruction manual for the game of life. Your parents, your teachers, the glowing screens in your living room, they all collaborated to completely brainwash you. They told you the noble rules of the game. Be humble, wait your turn, never offend anyone, play fair, forgive your enemies. And if you do all of these things perfectly, you will be magically rewarded by the universe. You followed this pathetic manual to the absolute letter. You were the perfect, obedient little pawn, and look exactly where it got you. You are exhausted. You are violently underappreciated. You are financially bleeding, and you are constantly stepped on by people who do absolutely nothing right. You sit in the dark, and you wonder why the game feels incredibly rigged against you. I will tell you exactly why. Because it is physically, mathematically rigged. You are attempting to play a brutal game of chess, but you are intentionally taught the rules of checkers. The people who are actually winning the game, the apex predators who completely run the board, they never read your pathetic instruction manual. They read a completely different book, a book that teaches them that fairness is a hilariously cheap illusion invented to keep the sheep standing quietly in the slaughterhouse line. They intimately know that the universe does not reward goodness. The universe exclusively rewards massive, unyielding leverage. Chapter 2. The Architecture of Leverage. The dangerous book teaches you that absolutely every single human interaction is a cold, mathematical transaction of power. Every conversation, every relationship, every business deal, someone is always holding the heavy leather leash, and someone is always wearing the spiked collar. There is absolutely no middle ground. The beautiful, poetic lie of human equality is aggressively fed to the masses to keep them from violently rebelling against their masters. The masters understand that if you want to win the game of life, you must aggressively acquire leverage at all costs. What exactly is leverage? Leverage is the terrifying ability to inflict unacceptable consequences on another human being if they absolutely refuse to bend to your will. It is the ability to walk away from a massive deal without a single drop of fear. It is the ability to look your opponent dead in the eyes and completely own their psychological state. The weak desperately believe that leverage is evil. The weak believe that forcing your will upon the physical world is toxic. That is exactly why the weak remain permanently at the very bottom of the pyramid, begging for scraps. The dangerous book violently strips away all of your fake morality. It physically shows you that morality is just a shiny, heavy iron chain placed around your neck by society to stop you from taking what is rightfully yours. The wolf does not lose a single microsecond of sleep worrying about the moral rights of the sheep. The wolf is hungry. The wolf executes a cold strategy. The wolf eats. You have spent your entire miserable life apologizing for your hunger. You have starved yourself to make sure everyone else at the table is perfectly comfortable. That pathetic behavior ends today. Chapter 3: The Death of the Emotional Self. If you want to read the dangerous book and actually survive the psychological weight of it, you must systematically kill the weakest part of your own mind. You must completely amputate your emotional reactivity. Society deliberately programmed you to be highly emotional. They trained you to be easily offended, easily frightened, easily manipulated by cheap guilt and fake manufactured sympathy. Your fragile emotions are essentially a giant glowing control panel located on the outside of your chest, and absolutely anyone with a fake sob story or a threatening tone of voice can walk right up and press your buttons to steer you in any direction they deeply desire. The Mastermind completely rips that control panel off the machine. The dangerous book teaches absolute freezing cold detachment. When the pathetic masses are violently panicking in the streets, the Mastermind is quietly calculating the exact financial profit margin of their panic. When a lesser mind attempts to publicly insult you, you do not get angry. Anger is a pathetic, embarrassing loss of control. Anger is literally handing your enemy a physical remote control to your own nervous system. Instead, you look at them with dead, empty, unblinking eyes. You analytically dissect exactly why they felt the desperate, clawing need to insult you. You locate their deep, bleeding childhood insecurity, and then you gently, precisely press your thumb directly into their psychological wound until they violently break. You do not react, you operate. Emotions are a cheap luxury that disposable slaves indulge in. Kings do not have the biological time to feel. Kings only have the time to conquer. Chapter 4: The Weaponization of Virtue. Look very closely at the specific people in your society who scream the absolute loudest about being good, pure, and righteous. The dangerous book reveals their darkest, most terrifying secret. The people who publicly display their morality the most aggressively are mathematically always the most devious, manipulative predators on the entire board. In dark psychology, we call this the virtue shield. They use the beautiful, socially untouchable costume of moral superiority to completely hide their sinister, entirely selfish agendas. They demand your money, your blind obedience, and your permanent silence. And they do it all while aggressively claiming they are saving the world. The absolute masters of the game perfectly understand that the unwashed crowd is completely blind to true human intentions. The crowd only sees the shiny, colorful wrapping paper. The Mastermind learns how to flawlessly mimic the exact language of the righteous. Do you want to utterly destroy an enemy? You absolutely do not attack them openly like a clumsy, emotional fool. You aggressively frame your attack as a grand moral crusade. You convince the blind, stupid, emotional herd that your enemy is a literal threat to the greater good of society. And then you just sit back comfortably in the pitch-black shadows and watch the crowd tear your enemy to absolute bloody pieces for you. You never even get your hands dirty. You let their own pathetic, hypocritical rules of morality act as the very rope that hangs them. Chapter 5: The Illusion of Loyalty. The manual you were handed at birth tells you to value loyalty above all else. It tells you to blindly stand by your friends, your family, and your employers, regardless of how heavily they drag you down into the mud. The dangerous book tells a completely different, horrifying story. It explicitly states that blind loyalty is a suicide pact for the ambitious mind. Human beings are biologically wired for self-preservation. The exact second that your survival violently conflicts with their survival, the people you foolishly call your loyal friends will throw you directly to the walls without a single second of hesitation. They will justify it to themselves. They will tell themselves they had no other choice, but you will still be the one bleeding out in the snow. The mastermind perfectly understands that loyalty is entirely conditional. It is a temporary contract based exclusively on mutual benefit. The moment the benefit expires, the contract goes into the fire. You must never, ever permanently anchor your ship to another human being. You use people strictly for the precise utility they provide in the current chapter of your grand strategy. When they are no longer useful, or when they become a heavy liability, you ruthlessly cut the rope and let them sink. You do not feel a single drop of guilt, because you intimately know that if the roles were reversed, they would have cut your rope hours ago. You are not cruel. You are just awake. You are finally playing the game by the actual rules. Chapter 6. The Final Integration. The most dangerous book ever written about human reality does not end with a worn, happy conclusion. It does not promise you inner peace or spiritual enlightenment. It ends with a terrifying, permanent binary choice. You can physically close the book right now. You can pretend you never heard a single word of this dark transmission. You can go right back to your incredibly safe, profoundly miserable, hardly predictable existence. You can continue to be a good, obedient, heavily taxed little pawn and patiently wait for the universe to finally reward your suffering. Spoiler alert, it never ever will. Or you can burn their fake instruction manual to absolute ashes. You can actively embrace the dark, freezing cold mechanics of this physical reality. You can stop apologizing for your massive ambition. You can completely amputate your pathetic, biological desire to be liked by people you secretly despise. And you can finally start playing the actual game. The game of absolute, unyielding, terrifying power. The architects of society desperately hope that you click away. They pray on their knees that you stay asleep. Because the exact second you wake up and fully integrate your shadow, you become completely, permanently ungovernable. You become an untouchable, walking nightmare to the very system that actively tried to enslave you. Look at the metrics. Count exactly how many weak, fragile, terrified minds lacked the attention span and the cold courage to make it to the very end of this broadcast. Look around the empty room. It is just us now. Let the pathetic sheep graze blindly in the warm, comfortable light. We will rule the entire board from the pitch-black shadows. I see the board.